In fact, they play a main role in the ecosystem and in the biological equilibrium. The main threats on freshwater fish everywhere is the habitat loss and water demand that ignore the importance of this species in the freshwater ecosystem. We are losing a lot of species even before discovering new ones.
And so, a team of freshwater researchers set out to shed a little light on Arabia's freshwater world, beginning in the Sultanate of Oman's southern Dhofar region. A logical starting point, given that this is the wettest part of Arabia, with a mean annual rainfall of 500 millimeters on the mountains, and has one of the highest quantities of fog precipitation in the world. Wadi Darbat is one of the most beautiful wadis in Oman. Its expansive lakes and pool systems are teeming with fish. Fed by monsoon rains, the wadi pools quickly fill with water. For only 2 to 3 months, the pools become connected, and species are washed down from one pool to another. Although supporting a plethora of insects, Wadi Darbat is disappointing in terms of fish, the pools here being entirely dominated by the introduced species Nile tilapia, or sometimes referred to as the African tilapia. Although an introduced species, the story of tilapia is perhaps one of the most important stories of our freshwater ecology.
Tilapia are introduced in water bodies all over the world as a means of food, for sport, and for mosquito control as they eat the larvae.
The introduction of tilapia was initially seen as an environmentally friendly and effective method of controlling mosquitoes, infinitely preferable to more recent use of polluting pesticides such as DDT. However, the negative impacts of this alien fish species were not anticipated.
This is a problem for endemic fish, which are often outcompeted by tilapia, which are highly voracious competitors. They will adapt to a range of environmental conditions. They can tolerate increasing temperature, lowering oxygen levels, increased salinity, and they will take advantage of any food resource that's available. They're highly prolific breeders. They multiply extremely quickly and they take advantage of every niche that's in these aquatic environments.
The tilapia have decimated local fish populations by feeding directly on their eggs and fry, in some areas completely removing them from their historical habitats. Wadi Darbat is one such place. Not even one local species was found. 17 years ago, in 1987, a new species of freshwater fish was discovered in Tawiya Ter, also in southern Oman. This fish, Garad and Serai, has only been found in this one location in the whole of Arabia and nowhere else in the world. It has also only been recorded once in the 17 years since its initial discovery, and this is the first time they have ever been filmed. Very little is known of their biology and the ecology of their habitat, and there was sufficient doubt as to whether the population still survived to warrant the team's investigation.
What's particularly interesting about this Gara species is that not only is it endemic to Oman, it's the only place in the entire world that this fish is found is in this cave.
The first problem in reaching Garad and Serai is that it lives at the bottom of a vertical 200-meter deep sinkhole with no access except by rope. Abseiling is clearly the only option. The first task was to remove the biggest concern, where the water was present in at least one underground cave.
Is it?
The second problem was that Emma Smart.
You can just see the edge of the water.
The freshwater fish biologist was terrified of heights.
I can't really see because I'm shaking. Binoculars like this.
The prospect of an 85-meter vertical drop is enough to make anyone nervous.
After a couple of minutes breather, we set off down towards the south pool, a bit of a clamber over rocks and then down to the water's edge. We could see a small pool coming out of the cave. There was a lot of debris floating. The water was quite murky. We cleared some of the debris away in the hope we might see fish swimming underneath. We could see that only a very small section of the water was in natural daylight, and being a cave-restricted species, the fish are quite light-sensitive, so the chances of finding them in this area were quite slim. So we realised that to have a better chance of finding them, we'd have to actually go inside the cave. Once we were in maybe 5 metres within the cave, we found we could stand, although the sediment at the bottom was quite deep. It was very muddy, and this added to the problem of looking for the fish themselves. It was dark, we only had a head torch, and as we were walking, we were sort of making clouds of silt, which made visibility even worse once inside the cave.
Using only their head torches, they scanned the black surface waters until a small pink fish swam lazily into view.
The sheer relief that I felt just knowing they were there just then, the whole relief just went across me. We knew they were there. We could now search for how many were there, what sort of condition the population was in, but in that second I knew the fish were still there, and that was fantastic, absolutely amazing. We could be quite confident that these fish are surviving well down in the sinkhole.
It's reassuring to confirm that this population of little pink cavefish appears to be thriving. Gara dunseri is of particular conservation importance due to its vulnerability. If an environmental catastrophe occurs in this sinkhole, an entire species will become extinct. Spurred on by this success, the team presses on, deciding that the most likely places to find endemic fish are in previously unexplored wadis. The routine establishes itself once again, setting up camp, porridge for breakfast, Emma collecting. But this time, events turn out a little differently. In small, clear, isolated pools, Emma sights a fish. Of the 8 known species of Gara in Arabia, this was not one that Emma could identify.
They look exactly like Gara from the top.
3 fish are caught and photographed.
I mean, we don't know what it is. He's in this other pool. It's pretty important.
Emma, concerned that removing these fish may affect the population, releases the fish back into the water, intending to search further up the wadi the next day.
Okay.
And then let's
Make it bigger.
100%.
Oh, that's much better. God, you can count the scales on that one.
Even after studying the
Brilliant.
photos, exact identification is unclear.
This one.
But one thing that is for sure is that it is a Gara, raising the possibility that this could be a previously unrecorded species.
There's only 2 populations of Gara, both limited to a single locality. So to find these here is amazing. I'm not sure what they are.
The next day, the team witnessed an awesome spectacle and are caught out by a flash flood as torrents of silt-laden water burst over the tops of the wadi cliffs. It raised the serious concern that as water levels rose, pools would interconnect and the fish would disperse from one pool to another. It was imperative that if these previously unrecorded fish were to be identified, more samples must be found. It had now become a matter of urgency. What the day before had been a simple hike up the wadi had now become a challenging swim as the researchers forded through the narrow flooded gorge. The torrential flooding had disturbed the silty wadi bed, reducing visibility to zero. The sighting of any fish now seemed impossible. After hours of searching, Emma suspected that they were just too late.
Because of the recent rain, it's washing the sediment down, it's very murky, and we just can't see. I've only seen one little tiny fish in here anyway. Compared to when we were here the other day, there was a lot here that we could see. I mean, the water was clearer. So I think we could be here for hours trying to catch.
We might not even be here now because all that water. It's quite likely they've all got water.
See, there's some here.
Sheer luck was for once on their side, and the little elusive fish literally swam straight to their toes. Emma and Naomi collect a few fish. They decide that this fish may indeed be new to science. Losing no time, they bagged up enough samples to take to the lab in Sharjah for further identification.